How's it going, everyone? Data here with the first DataCast of 2023 as breaking news in the NHL this morning that Shane Wright has been reassigned from the Seattle Kraken back to the Kingston Frontenacs of the OHL, the captain of Team Canada's World Junior Championship winning team just the night prior. His gift the next morning is being reassigned to the OHL. Now, the question begs to be asked, is this the right call? Was Wright rushed to the NHL a bit too quickly already in the first place? Has he been a disappointment in the NHL? Was his tournament in the World Junior Championship a bit disappointing as well? Or is this just, this growing pains? It's going to happen. Nothing to be concerned about just yet. That's what we will be discussing here this morning. So I know it's 12 p.m. on noon on a Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, so I'm not expecting a ton of live engagement, but if you're watching after the fact, I would love for you to join in through the comments section. Let me know your thoughts on what's being said here with Shane Wright. I wish I could do a lot more of these, honestly, but with oftentimes breaking news doesn't always happen when you're free. So it's great that we're able to do it right here. Doggy, welcome aboard. We got one right here. Thank you very much for joining. Hey, we got Kronos in here as well. Welcome to the stream. So that being said, let's start breaking down the numbers. Shane Wright, let me just share this here. Shane Wright in the NHL this season has, it hasn't been great, not just points wise, but also what he's been doing. But he also hasn't been given the most amount of ice time. So coming from Kingston, having scored 94 points, everyone thought he was going to be more of a playmaker. Of course, I don't think anyone was expecting a crazy number of goals. But in 8 games, he scores 1 goal and 1 assist. But in the AHL, he scores 4 goals. He does the opposite. He decided to be a shoot first kind of guy. And in the World Junior Championship, he scored a fantastic goal last night in the final. Hadn't been doing that much 5-on-5 though. Most of what he'd been doing was coming on the special teams. I believe 5-on-5, he only had a couple of points beforehand. So, and if you look a bit more deeply at it here in the advanced stats, I'm not sure what, through 8 games is not the greatest sample size. If I could scroll down here, possession metrics, 44.6 on the Corsi. You want to at least get that to the 50. Offensive zone starts 65.8. The rate metrics, goals for per 60 that he's on the ice for. I'm not trying to say that his metrics should have been anything crazy. I'm just trying to say that I don't know if he was being given the greatest opportunities at the same time either. 8 minutes of ice time, 5 minutes of ice time, 13 minutes of ice time, 8 minutes of ice time. You're not going to be able to get good numbers with this being the opportunities that you're presented with. And at the same time, you might be saying, well, Seattle's not a good team, and it's part of a problem. Well, no, actually, Seattle's a very good team. They're 21-12-4. They're one of the better teams in the NHL. Usually, a prospect who gets drafted highly is coming onto a team that is not very good. So it's expected that they don't do well. But because Seattle is doing well, and he is being relegated to 8 minutes a night, 7 minutes a night, is it because of that relegation? Did he need to be given 15 minutes a night, 12 to 16 minutes per night to be able to show himself a bit more? Are Seattle's successes hindering Shane Wright's development, as funny as that might sound? So he's on a better team than he would have expected to be on. And Seattle, at the same time, they want to win. And Shane Wright is kind of hindering that, right? So after 8 games, they say, let's just slide his contract to another season, as opposed to his entry-level deal starting in 2022-23 and ending at the end of 2024-25. It now slides a year. It will begin next year in 2023-24 and go until 2025-26. So he goes back to the OHL. Maybe not something that many expected at this point. I thought I wouldn't have been surprised if they kept doing conditioning stints back and forth, because like I said, Seattle is a good team. It wasn't a bad environment to be a part of. But he gets sent down to the Kingston Frontenacs, a team that not very good right now. They're 5th in the East. Well, they're a winning team technically, but I don't think that they're going to be keeping Shane Wright. It's been said that he'll be traded immediately, so they'll recoup 4 first-round picks in the OHL, whatever those trades are. And he'll likely be traded very, very soon. Let me stop talking for a second and get back to what all of you have to say about this. Mackenzie love it when a data stream falls right during my lunch. And that's it. Exactly. It's 12 o'clock. It's exactly it for those of you who aren't in the Pacific time zone. Super Loser, welcome. Kanaki, good to see you. Long time no talk, my friend. So I want to hear from all of you. What do you think this was the right call for Shane Wright? Seattle, it's a very interesting situation because usually the prospect who's drafted highly goes into a team that is not performing well. He's given the two options, basically. If he's one of the higher end prospects, here's 20 minutes a night, run with it. Or if he is one of the, I guess, more like, I don't know, mid first round and lower prospects, they say, let's not bother. We'll send him down back to the juniors right away. But Shane Wright was kind of in the middle where he was slated to go first, second, third, end up dropping to fourth, and came on a team that was one of the worst in the league and now is pushing for the postseason, pushing for top spot in the Pacific even. And they're saying, well, now we're actually trying to win games, and this guy's not quite ready yet. Maybe an unpopular opinion here from Kronos, who says Wright had a great goal last night. Absolutely. But I wasn't that wowed by his junior performance. No, I don't think anyone really was. His 5-on-5 points, I'm not sure where I'd pull that number up. I think he only had was it 2 assists, 5-on-5 before last night. I see it. I can see his stats. Obviously, he had 7 points in 7 games, which is great. But I would like to be. I would be interested in seeing how many of those were 5-on-5. So I think it does make sense that they want to send him back to the OHL. I do. Spoiler. Now that after I've given all these thoughts, I do agree with the Shane Wright reassignment to the OHL. But now the question is it a disappointment? I think it's the right call, but was it the call that they were expecting to do? Are they disappointed to be doing this? Are they perfectly fine with doing this? Seattle's in an interesting position because, again, are they going to pull a Vegas Golden Knights where after expansion they'll become a good team? Can Seattle be a perennial contender for the Pacific Division? Or after this year, they're going to go back to mediocrity? It's just a fluke type of year, right? Doggy says, what would you think if Montreal drafted Wright, but he only put up 20, 30 points? I don't think I would mind that much. I think Montreal media would probably be eating him alive. Like Juraj Slafkovsky right now, what's he up to? I think he's, I saw a good stat from, was it Greg McKegg? Is that his name? Or am I just making that up? Greg something. He was saying that of points per game by 6'3" plus prospects who are first round picks in their first season, Slafkovsky is already higher than Draisaitl. He's higher than Barkov. It's not to say that he'll be like those players, but it's expected that it takes time. He has 10 points in 34 games. So Slafkovsky, break out the calculator, 10 points in 34 games. He's on pace for a 24-point season. I don't think that would be bad for Slafkovsky. That's full 82. We won't play that many. But if Slafkovsky could get 30 points as an 18, 19-year-old in the NHL in his first season, I wouldn't mind that. And I think Shane Wright would kind of be on that same expectation. Yet, on Seattle, he has only 2 points in 8 games, a team that's doing well. Slafkovsky has those points on a team that isn't doing well. I don't mean to make this sound like the Slafkovsky versus Wright debate here, but Wright would have been on pace for 20 points? 82 divided by 8 times 2. Yeah, 21 points. Would have on pace for 10 goals, 20 points. So it's not to say that it's a debate between Slafkovsky and Wright, but just to say I think Slafkovsky is acclimatizing to the NHL a bit more smoothly, perhaps. Super Loser says, I think you would be fine with this because of the extra ELC year. That's really a key element here. If he's still underperforming next year, then that's when it becomes worrying. Absolutely. So if the Kraken had surpassed those 9 games, they managed it quite well. They sat him for a certain amount of time, and then they had to, let me clarify that. They managed it on paper quite well, where they had to keep him out of the lineup for a certain amount of time to be able to allow him to go on a conditioning stint. On paper, they managed it well. But in reality, developmentally, have they been doing the best thing for Shane Wright himself, right? To say, okay, you need the playing time, you need the confidence. We're a good team. We want to get you in there. You played 8 games out of how many have they played? 8 out of 37 games. He played 8 out of 37 games this season and 4 in the AHL. So he's played 12 out of a possible, let's say 40 games if you include some AHL time. He's played a fourth. He's been scratched for 3/4 of the season. Like, that's on paper for the Kraken, it worked out for them. They saved the year of the ELC. They got to put him on a conditioning stint. Now he's back to juniors. No problem. Kraken keep living their lives. But Shane Wright, the guy's been scratched for 3/4 of the season, and now he's back to the OHL after he got the taste of the NHL. He scored 4 goals in 5 games in the AHL. He had a point per game tournament in the World Juniors. He was the captain of the gold medal winning team. If I were Shane Wright, I'd be a bit frustrated right now. Maybe not that I got sent down, but that I've been managed in such a way. Emerald says, I think this is the right decision. Don't rush him. And Super Loser says, it honestly seems like this was the plan from the start. Now, again, if that was Seattle's plan from the start and Shane Wright was made aware of that, maybe he wasn't happy about it, but at least he would have known about it. I'll give the Kraken that. But I would have liked this a bit sooner if I'm Shane Wright. If you're going to play me 8 games and then you have to decide on what to do with me, that's okay. But if you're going to make that decision at the halfway point in the season, I've been scratched for 3/4 of the year, I'd be a bit frustrated. So that being said, I think it is the right decision. I think that Wright is going to get the playing time. He's going to get some more development at a lower level of play in terms of he's not going to be getting bombarded by the Pacific divisions and his 7 minutes of ice time per night. He'll be able to play 20 plus minutes on whatever OHL team he gets traded to because he's not going to be staying on the Kingston Frontenacs. He'll be getting traded very soon. Yeah, I think that he's going to come back next season with the full 3 years of his ELC in a better position. That's all good. I'm just saying that if I'm him right now, I'd be a bit upset. I missed Kronos' comment here. My apologies. Kronos says, I think they should be disappointed because I believe he was exceptional status. So that's pretty disappointing. I also think they're playing a bit over their pay grade. So yes, I think Seattle is playing a bit better than a bit over their heads at the moment. They've been, they beat Toronto 5-1 yesterday. They're the real deal. But by over their head, I mean, I don't think it'll be sustainable long term. And by long term, I mean years to come. I don't think they're going to be Vegas where right away they become contenders, for the Western Conference Championship for the first 3-4 years of their existence in a row. I think Seattle's a solid team with a solid group, but I wouldn't be surprised if within the next year or two they miss the postseason. So I think that's about all of my thoughts on Shane Wright. I think it is the right decision. 2 points in 8 games, scratched for 3/4 of the year, 4 goals in 5 games in the AHL. That was cool. He goes to Kingston, a team that's 17-15-1 in the OHL right now. He's going to get traded to another team for some big package of picks. His advanced analytics, I tried to look at those, but I couldn't. It's hard to see much after 8 games, right? But we see that his ice time very low. He was averaging 8.5 minutes of ice time per night through those 8 games. And Seattle, they're a winning team. They're a winning team. They say, let's slide his ELC to another year. That's no problem. So the Kraken get a win here. If I'm Shane Wright, I'm a bit frustrated, but I do have a gold medal around my neck, and that's about it. So let me know your thoughts down here in the comments. Quick little DataCast here. Always fun to get these in, but somewhat rare. They're going to be happening more as the trade deadline does approach. That'll be exciting, so be sure you're subscribed not to miss out on those. And, of course, subscribe for our franchise mode content. A new episode coming out in about 45 minutes of our San Jose Sharks franchise mode and career simulations and much, much more. The Connor Bedard career simulation just dropping yesterday. 2 days ago, sorry. Speaking of the World Juniors. Doggy, thanks for being here. Kronos, thanks for being here. All the other 4 of you, thanks for being here live as well. And if you're a Super Loser, Emerald, thank you, everyone. And for those of you watching after the fact, be sure to leave a like and join us in the Discord server where we're talking a lot about all this, a lot more. Thanks for taking the time. Have yourselves a wonderful day, a great weekend ahead, and we'll talk soon.